I'm a big fan of podcasting.
Same.
I think podcasting is a great way to demonstrate expertise.
Agreed.
However, it is a long tail process. Welcome to Breaking Down Your Business, episode 352.
Hello.
You can find the show notes of this episode at breakingdownyourbusiness.com.
Good to have you.
352.
So glad you're here.
That exciting, thrilling, energy-filled voice, that's Jill from the
It's
Founding
me.
Moms
And I think
doing her Ethel impression.
I don't know why I wanted to look like this. This is Brad from Anchor Advises. And if you've never listened to the show, I don't actually sound like this.
So, Jill, how much do you know about employment law?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
You went to law school, you know nothing about
I
employment
know
law.
nothing about employment law.
How are small business owners supposed to figure out employment law if they didn't even go to law school?
Thankfully, we have an incredible sponsor called Comply Right.
Comply Right.
That's offering a 6-course freebie to educate you on employment stuff regarding
Wow.
your business. I know. So if you're a business owner, chances are you're juggling many HR tasks and you're trying to keep up with the ever-changing employment laws. They're changing all the time.
Yep.
HR 101 from Comply Right is a free online training program that'll give you a solid understanding of employment law so you can handle typical workplace issues like a pro.
This is completely free?
Yeah, I'm just going to list to you some of the courses that they offer. General legal obligation for employers, recruiting and hiring,
Hard.
classifying workers correctly,
Complicated.
managing your employees, preventing
Tricky.
workplace harassment,
Yikes.
and discipline and termination. So I'm going to send you to complyright.com/courses. It's totally free. Go there right now. Do the thing.
Wow. Last night I got sidetracked into the Bon Appetit YouTube account. And
so sorry.
There's a guy on the Bon Appetit YouTube account named Brad
No way.
who does fermentation. All his
Ew.
recipes are about fermentation.
Okay.
And he's from New Jersey.
Yes, he is.
And he is hilarious.
talk like this?
He kind of does, but
Oh.
even worse. Like, it's just words like...
He's probably from Long
We're
Island.
going to do like a mixy thing here.
Oh,
like
no.
It's like
Oh,
crazy
no.
hilarious. It's
Love,
super hilarious.
love.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
Anyway.
shout out to Brad on the
Bon Appetit
YouTube
YouTube?
channel.
I have more questions about what were you doing watching
I
that?
started with a sourdough recipe, and then I went down.
You just let it go?
I love fermentation, so he
I've
did.
read that the majority of dudes in the world will go to YouTube if they just want to watch stuff, and women don't function that way. This is very not good reporting from something I read.
Wow.
But it was like a lot less. Women spend a lot less time on YouTube than men do.
So Jill,
I didn't know that.
last
that.
month-
It's interesting.
It is interesting. It's irrelevant.
Fake facts from Jill.
Poorly
It's very
reported.
interesting, but it is something I read.
All
anyway.
right, we'll figure more about. We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
Last month we talked about making your messaging more bold and less bland, and this month we're talking about putting that messaging to work, generating leads.
Oh, I hate those words.
What do you mean you hate those words?
I don't like lead generation, but it's just an overused
You
phrase.
like people to
Oh,
buy
no.
things from
I
you.
actually do like lead generation. I just don't like the phrase. It's like our long list of business jargon.
You're right.
I can't
okay.
stand it.
So what should we call
I
it?
was
What
just
should we
going
call
to say,
it?
what would you call it?
I would call it.
Getting people to buy from you.
But that's sales, right? Lead generation's slightly different.
You're right.
It's the end of marketing. It's the
Get it?
handoff between marketing and sales.
Sucking them in. I don't know. That's not a good one either.
I kept trying to walk away, and they kept sucking me back in.
See? You get it. Okay. All right.
So I'm going to start off this by telling a little story.
Oh, story time.
My father and I used to go fishing together.
Okay.
And this was when he was retired, and so he had money. And my father did not want to fish; he wanted to catch fish. And there's a difference. A lot of people go fishing. My dad wanted to
I mean,
actually
without
catch
the
fish.
pole, he jumps
No,
in
no,
and
no.
catches the fish.
No, he didn't want to just spend hours in a lake not catching anything. He wanted to
Bring home the bacon.
bring home fish, right?
The fish bacon.
right? And so he would find these guides in these places that like knew exactly. You throw a lure right there. There's a big brown trout. You can catch it. And so one of the best guides that we worked with, his mantra that he would say all the time is, you don't need the perfect lure. You don't need the perfect cast. You only catch fish when the hook is in the water. Right? And so a lot of people, when they're fishing, they spend a lot of time like trying to figure out the right thing, the right gear, the right way to do it.
Yeah.
His thing was get the lure in the water, you're going to catch more fish than if you're trying to figure it all out.
Wasting time. Yeah.
Right. So the whole. We talked in our last episode about my product's hook, right?
Yes.
And so, once we figure out what that hook is, how do we keep it in front of people? How do we make sure that our hook is in the water?
By your story, we put it in the water. That's the moral I got. Is that not what you were looking for?
I'm trying to come back from the analogy to business now.
I don't.
In the business world,
comfortable
if
floating in the
if
water.
we're gonna generate leads, we need to be putting something out there, right?
Well, you've got the hook, then you've got to drop it in the water. Brad, how do you drop it in the proverbial water?
That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, well, I just asked you, so you go first.
So let me throw out some ways that I've heard people talk about this.
Okay, and I can knock them down one by one.
Content marketing.
Why do you say it like that? That's like my favorite.
Well, because
Brad just did like a shoulder head swishy thing, by the way. That
I don't
he doesn't
even know
care about
what
content
marketing means anymore.
Oh, it's just creating content and putting it out on the many different channels.
Like
Blog posts, emails, social media posts. Do you really need me to go over this?
What you're making is a list of things that are content.
Correct.
But I guess in what I'm wondering, and what I think many of our listeners might be wondering, is I could do all of those things. I could do social and blogging and videos and ebooks and webinars, but I can't do them all.
Correct.
Right? And so...
And that is only one of I stopped you. There's a list that you have. You said content marketing is
right.
one of the ways
but
to
but that
generate
one
leads.
already is like too many things.
Oh, yes. Well, that's where you have to drill down and figure out what works for your business.
You say that like it's so easy, Jill.
It is pretty easy.
No, it's not.
a trial and error situation.
Okay, so give me a
start-
plan. Give me Jill's playbook for figuring out
If you start
content marketing.
For example, a lot of people are scared if they're not on any social that, oh, well, I have to be everywhere. So they go and they start accounts and they post on LinkedIn and they post on Facebook and they post on Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube, and I can keep going. But if you discover, wait a second, everybody that has paid me money in the past never, ever checks LinkedIn, I'm not going to use LinkedIn.
Huh.
I'm going to live on Instagram and Facebook, which are often tied together. And for some product people, Instagram works like amazingly well relative to Facebook. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But content marketing, you do need to figure it out and tweak and keep going, but it's very helpful for lead generation.
See, and what
Ads
you just
is
talked
another
about,
universe.
hold on. What you
Okay.
just talked about to me is social media, and a lot of what you're talking about there is paid social media.
No, paid is separate. I just said that at the end. Like ads, Google ads,
Yeah.
Facebook ads.
Yeah.
That's separate ball game. But yeah, there are a lot of options for marketing your content, a lot of them being on social. I don't know if you have a blog. I don't know if you the listener, has an email newsletter that's going out.
So let's hold on
podcast.
for just a minute.
Do you know anybody with a podcast, Brad?
A few people, yeah.
That's so funny, Jill.
Well, here's what I would say about podcasting. I'm a big fan of podcasting.
Same.
I think podcasting is a great way to demonstrate expertise.
Agreed.
However, it is a long tail process.
Correct.
How long have we been doing this, Jill?
6 years? Is it 7 now? 6.
No, 6.
6 years.
It'll be 6 years at the end of this year.
It's just a
5
long
and a half.
time.
Right.
A long time.
And I would say we have a modicum of success.
Yeah, I would agree.
You know, it's sort of like being on a low tier paid.
Yeah. Okay, don't keep going. Got it. We got it.
So podcasting's great, but it might take a while, right?
All of it takes a while. And you can speed it up with money, but all of it takes a while.
Say more about that.
If you were the first person to be on Facebook when Facebook launched,
Yes.
more power to you because you lucked out. And that timing thing happens once every blue moon. I don't know a lot of people that happens to. Otherwise, there's a lot of content that you have to put out regularly on whatever channel you choose to make it have a solid return. And perhaps our podcast relative to my posting on Facebook, there's a huge difference. One's more effective than the other.
Yes.
Speed-wise.
Yeah.
But all of it, in my experience, takes a really long time if you want to gain the trust of people to spend their money with you.
So and we're getting off the lead generation. Well, maybe
I'm trying not to.
But one of my next question might be, but maybe it's not. I will talk to people who have said, "Oh, Brad, I've tried content marketing. I've
Just
published
blanket.
blog."
I've tried content marketing.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
I published blog posts and I've been on social media, and it just didn't work. Nothing worked.
Okay.
What would you say to those people?
I would say you did it wrong, and we need to talk about what you did because you don't know what you're doing.
So
Actually, I have heard from those people too who just give up on social media altogether or give up on writing anything altogether because they believe so strongly that referrals are number one, which, to be perfectly frank, word of mouth is always going to be queen.
1,000%.
And then referrals are so valuable, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing the other stuff.
Well, here's the thing about referrals. What do you do if you need more?
Right. Do you just start begging more people to send you more people?
There's
Like,
no
there's a limit.
gas pedal.
Isn't there a limit?
Well, I don't know if there's a limit. If you have...
I mean, unless you know 2 million people and you can
Right.
keep asking them to refer.
Right.
Then you become the a-hole that we all block.
Or
So-
your cable company.
I don't know what that means.
They are always sending me emails about, refer a friend and you each get $50
Oh,
or
yeah,
something.
real incentive there. Thanks,
Right.
buddy. Yeah. So,
So the what I would say a little less harshly than you, which is shocking because I'm usually the harsh one
it's
around
true.
here,
It's true. No,
is that
I'll crush on
it
this.
takes a long social media works. If you find the right channel that has your
All of
audience,
it works if you find the right channels.
but your messaging also has to work.
Correct.
And you really have to find people who are getting results with your audience and see what they're doing.
Yes.
Because what works, the small business audience that I'm trying to reach, if I look at the people that are getting great results, I don't love their posts. It's not what I would do
Right.
naturally. It's not what feels comfortable for me.
Right.
But it's not about what feels comfortable for me.
Correct.
It's about what gets people to respond.
Correct. Yeah, usually when you said the people who write off content marketing are usually people who tried it all, but somebody didn't say, well, what are you putting out? Let's take a look at the actual substance. The other one is I think a lot of people think with content marketing and lead generation that it only is really actually working if it happens very quickly. And that's an expectation we should kill right now. But if you need return to show up extremely fast, I need to create 40 new leads every day. The only way that I'm aware that you can do that is spending a ton of money, having budget like Google does, and going and getting 1 million new people a day to test it out.
So there's a couple other options that I think that we're not talking about.
Tell me.
Calling people.
Oh, I think of that. That's funny. I put that in the referral box in my mind.
I'm talking about people that you don't necessarily know.
Ooh. Okay.
I mean, you can trade off money for time. If you don't have money, you might have to spend time.
Yes.
And
agreed.
if you've done all the content marketing that is earning any kind of return for you, and you still need more leads, you can call people. You can send people emails. You can. I mean, email marketing in general,
Is so
I think
great.
I would put above social
Oh,
any
for
day.
sure. For sure.
So before I would even start working about social, I would start a newsletter or some kind of regular email that gets people in.
You're right. We are missing a lot of things, like take yourself on a speaking circuit, like
Go to a
external
conference.
stuff. Right. Events.
Right.
Or creating events in your business where there is a new book that you put out or ebook. There is a new something happening where you can create a big stir and have people go, oh, did you hear that so-and-so business is blah, blah, blahing? That's not actual language I would use.
Okay, I'm good. I'm glad with
Yeah.
that. So the idea is that there's a big universe out here of ways that we can keep our lure in the water.
Yep.
And that if we're doing it over and over again and no one's biting, then it's time to change up the lure. But still keeping the lure in the water,
Love
right?
it.
Still
Love it.
keeping
Always.
ourselves out there.
Always.
And consistency and persistence. I'm not really all that smart, truthfully.
Okay.
But I'm willing to do things for a long
Not
time.
fighting you.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to do things for a long time
Same.
and keep banging my head against the wall
Same.
until I figure out what the right way to do
I
it.
think a lot of us who've been in business a long time and continue to be happy in business know that patience is probably numero uno. And if you don't have patience, you're not going to make it. Because these things just take so much longer than I thought they would at the beginning of my career. Whew.
So we're talking here about people that are putting things out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to make a shout out to Andy J. Solomon on LinkedIn.
What's up, Andy?
Andy said, who are the most intelligent, thought-provoking business leaders you follow that have their own podcast? And he said, a couple that I've subscribed to, Breaking Down Your Business with Jill Salzman and Brad
Stop
Ferris.
it!
Hustle and Flowchart with Matt Wolf and Joe Fire.
What's up, Hustle
What
Wolf?
shows do you recommend?
No way.
He did.
Andy!
like-
Ugh, we're hugging you right
We are.
now.
Virtual hug.
Virtual hug. That's so dorky. But we're very grateful. That's so nice. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
So-
If you want to leave a review just like him and get some love on the air, 708-872-7878. You can call. You can text. You can voice record. Do whatever you want. Get in touch. Because we crushed it. We crushed it. We crushed it.